High in the remote and rugged mountains of Papua New Guinea lives the Fore people. They are a fascinating tribe with a unique and to some unsettling tradition. The Fore practiced endocannibalism, the act of consuming the remains of their own people. This was not an act of savagery as one might initially assume. Instead, it was a deeply spiritual practice rooted in their beliefs about life, death, and the connection between the living and the deceased. For the Fore, consuming the flesh of their kin was the ultimate act of love and respect. They believed that by ingesting the body, they were keeping the spirit of the departed alive within their community. The Fore's remote location and unique traditions made them a source of fascination for the outside world, particularly anthropologists eager to understand this complex and seemingly paradoxical practice. How could a society that valued compassion and respect engage in an act that many considered taboo? The answer, as anthropologists soon discovered, lay in the profound spiritual beliefs that underpinned Fore culture. They saw the world through a different lens, one that blurred the lines between the physical and the spiritual, the living and the dead. For the Fore people, death was not an end but a transition, a movement from one state of being to another. Their tradition of endocannibalism was intricately woven into this belief system. It was not an act of desecration. It was an act of reverence, a way of honoring the dead and ensuring their continued presence in the community. The act of consuming the flesh, particularly the heart and brain, was believed to forge a powerful spiritual bond between the deceased and their living relatives.
It was through this act that the Fore believed they could absorb the wisdom, strength, and essence of their loved ones, keeping their memory alive within their hearts.
This practice, however, was not without its critics, even within the tribe itself. Some members viewed it with apprehension and fear, believing that it invited illness and misfortune. The consumption of human remains, particularly brain tissue, carried with it the risk of transmitting a deadly prion disease known as Kuru. This disease, characterized by severe neurological damage, wreaked havoc on the Fore population, leading to tremors, paralysis, and ultimately, death. The fear of Kuru cast a long shadow over the practice of endocannibalism, forcing the Fore to confront the potential consequences of their cherished tradition. The ritual of endocannibalism among the Fore was a solemn affair, steeped in symbolism and tradition, typically undertaken by women, seen as caretakers of life and death. They prepared the body for consumption, removing internal organs and cooking them with vegetables.
The brain, considered sacred, was mashed into a paste with ferns and sago.
This ritual was a somber act of remembrance, a way of saying goodbye and welcoming the spirit. Consuming the body was a final act of love and sacrifice. It was believed to provide a new vessel for the deceased.
The spirit would be reborn into the clan, ensuring the continuity of their lineage.
The practice of endocannibalism, while deeply ingrained in Fore culture, had dire consequences. The transmission of Kuru, a fatal neurological disorder, became a significant challenge for the tribe.
Kuru, meaning to shake in the Fore language, caused devastating neurological damage. It manifested as uncontrollable tremors, progressive loss of coordination, and dementia. The disease primarily affected women and children, who were more likely to consume the brain tissue of the deceased.
The high incidence of Kuru among the Fore raised alarm bells in the medical community, prompting extensive research into this mysterious and deadly illness. Despite the devastating effects of Kuru, the Fore people demonstrated remarkable resilience. They adapted to the challenges posed by the disease, developing coping mechanisms and social support systems to care for those afflicted.
With the arrival of Western medicine and the understanding of the prion-based nature of Kuru, the Fore gradually abandoned their tradition of endocannibalism. This decision, while difficult, was driven by a desire to protect their community and ensure its survival.
The story of the Fore and their struggle with Kuru serves as a poignant example of the complex interplay between culture, tradition, and public health. The Fore people's practice of endocannibalism, while shocking to outsiders, must be understood within the context of their own cultural beliefs and worldview. Dr. Ann Salm, a renowned anthropologist, explains their actions were driven by love, kinship, and spiritual connection.
They believed that by consuming the remains of their loved ones, they were honoring their memory and ensuring the continuity of their spirit within the community.
Dr. Salm's insights highlight the importance of cultural sensitivity and respect. The story of the Fore people is a testament to the diversity of human culture.